Hey everybody, this is Eric Worre and welcome to NetworkMarketingPro.com. I'm here in Minneapolis with an old friend, Mr. John Haremza, and John is somebody who I would call, I don't know if we're probably both veterans at this stage of our careers, but he's been involved in the profession for a long time, makes over $1 million a year, as do all the people that we interview on this program. And John happened to be coming through town, and John lives in
Fargo, North Dakota.
Fargo, North Dakota. I'm here in Minneapolis, so he happened to be in town. So we've been threatening to do this for a little bit, and we finally figured it out. So John, welcome.
Thank you. Great to be here.
I appreciate it very much. We don't have anything scripted for this program, but I'm going to just start off by saying you make over $1 million a year when other people are struggling to make $1,000 a year. What makes you special?
Well, I think it's living in Fargo, North Dakota. I mean, if you can make $1 million a year living in Fargo, I believe you can do it wherever you live as well.
So, seriously though, what's different? What do you do that's different?
You know, I believe the whole basis of network marketing is belief. You know, people by people. It's your passion, your posture, your belief, enthusiasm about what it is you do that will attract or influence others. And I believe the thing that holds most people back is their belief structure. I mean, they need to, number one, invest in themselves. You know, because, you know, people enter this business on faith, right? Faith in the company, faith in the products, you know, faith in network marketing, faith that everything that they have that's been shared with them is real. And they're very fragile. And so, you know, one of the things that when I bring a new person in, a new member joins the team, you know, I look at that person, you know, they got the highest level of anxiety, the least amount of knowledge, and they're very, very fragile. And so you need to wrap your arms around these people. And you know that, I think it's John Addison that talks about, you know, the goal is to keep them in one more day. And you know, be that person's life support system. You know, to have that transition from faith to belief. And so when you have a distributor in that faith mode, you need to take the responsibility to wrap your arms around them, because, you know, the least little negative can blow them out of the business. So I think it's my belief structure has tremendous influence. And how did I build that belief structure? You know, I turned my car into a university on wheels. I mean, everywhere I went. I mean, I was listening to the Jim Rowans, you know, the Earl Nightingales, the W. Clement Stones. I'm listening to all of the company's CDs, just flooding myself with belief and knowledge. And, you know, on the conference calls, using the product, you know, attending the events, witnessing, you know, others that you can relate with. You know, I remember one of my experiences I had at one of the first big national conferences with NSA. Yeah. And, you know, I was 2 years into this thing, and this old couple, you might remember the story, walks across the stage, and they start talking about, you know, they just became national marketing directors, 4 years. And I still remember it because the husband starts talking about, you know, I don't think those first 2 years we sold anything. Yeah. And the wife interrupts him and says, "No, honey, that's not true. We sold the house, we sold the car, we sold the boat." But it's that type of persistence, it's that type of belief in the future that burn your bridge behind you, I am going to make this happen. Because people can sense if you're hesitant. I mean, if you don't truly believe, they can, even if you don't say it, it's your actions. And I think that's what holds most people back, it's that belief structure.
Yeah, and when he's mentioning NSA, that was a company that both of us were involved with a million years ago.
20 years ago,
21 years ago, and where both of us kind of learned some of the initial skill sets to be able to become a professional in this business. Took a while, but that was I think the beginning. But do you think that's the difference? I mean, if you think about all the peers, all the people that you know that make the big bucks, make $1 million a year or better. Do you think that's the difference? It's just a different level of belief and a different ability to transfer that belief?
Well, I mean, the belief is the foundation, right? Okay, now you know, because all of that belief I forget who it was said that knowledge on ice is nowhere near as powerful as ignorance on fire, right? But you still need to invest in yourself. You take all of that belief and then you hone your skills. So you become an attractive person.
Right. So you learn to attract people to your business. You learn. I think maybe a way to say what you're saying is these leaders, these high income earners, become visionary in a sense. In a sense, they paint a picture for people and they create a vision for the group, and then they set expectations. They transfer belief in others to get them to stay involved one more day or one more month or one more year until they finally hit their turning point, their tipping point internally. Because for me at the beginning, I had some early success because my dad was involved and his partner was involved, and I was just using third party like crazy, saying, hey, they're involved, come check this out, right? So I got some early success, but after that, if I hadn't had that early success, that initial thing, because I didn't have belief in myself, I hadn't developed myself. What happened with me is I got early success, and within 90 days, my check was almost to zero. So I got this little bump, and then my check went almost to zero, and then I didn't have any place to go, no place else to go to earn as much as I could to go back to the thing that I was not liking now. So then I started working on me.
Right.
And I started listening to the tapes, and I started reading the books, and I started going to every event I could go to, if I could drive there, or carpool there, whatever I needed to do to develop myself. So anyway, go ahead.
Well, when you talk about going to every event, investing in yourself, because my background, I was and I think this is one of the deep-seated beliefs that I have, that if I can do this, you can do this. I mean, I was living in a trailer house.
Yeah, tell us about your background.
I was living in a trailer house. I was working in a snack food company, barrel of fun potato chips, in Perm, welding, building, maintaining equipment. Never sold anything before in my life. High school education, and actually have a learning disability. I have dyslexia, and so when I went to school, it wasn't understood. I was put in all these special classes, having tests read to me, and kids making fun of me, and parents were frustrated. Teachers didn't think I was trying, and so when I got out of school, I mean, I had no self-esteem, I had no self-confidence. I really almost tried to be invisible, just be that good kid that never got called on, and they pushed me through, and so when I got the job at this potato chip factory, eventually became a supervisor of that division, maintenance. I mean, I thought I had the best job that I'd ever possibly get, and so I remember my first introduction to the industry. A friend of mine invited me out to look at this water filter, and given my background, no sales, but maintenance, real mechanical. I thought he wanted me to build a display or see if the product was of quality, and there were 5 of us there that night. These 2 suits came down from Minneapolis, and I was an hour and a half late for the meeting because I had a breakdown at the plant, and I could see just the disappointment in these 2 suits from Minneapolis. We just waited an hour and a half, for this guy, but that's a lesson there, because you just don't know, who has the goodies, who wants to change their life. And I mean, I got turned on that night. I bought 4 of these water filters that night, wrote a check, $480, and I was engaged at the time, getting married. That was in November. I was getting married December 17th.
Okay.
So I come home to my fiance.
A lot of people say you can't build in the holiday season.
Yeah, I
you proved that wrong, right?
Yeah, I mean, I came home with these 4 water filters. My fiance was furious with me because she knew I must have wrote a check. And I said, don't worry, they're going to hold it till Friday. That was payday. And then I went on to share that I was going to invest $5,000, which she didn't think would be a possibility. But where there's a will, there's a way. I found the money, and it just
pause for 1 second before you continue that. A lot of people today are saying, you know what, $1,000, I can't afford it. It's a tough economy. It's this, it's that. $500 to join a business. $1,000 to join a business. You expecting me to get $300 worth of sales tools? Are you crazy? When we started, and this is we walked to school every morning in the snow, uphill both ways story. But when we started, it was $5,000 to join. I came up with $5,000. You know how I did it? I borrowed it from my dad. $5,000 to join a business, and that was in the late 80s. So what is that today?
$15,000,
$15,000, $20,000 today, and people are whining about finding $1,000 in this economy. Please, get over that. You're never going to find a better way to be able to start a life and create a business for yourself for real than what you can do in this economy. I mean, what is it? Your opportunity today? What is it? What's the most you can spend?
But with tax and freight, you're about $1,500.
$1,500. I mean, $1,500. There's $500. There's $1,000. I mean, let go of that limiting belief that in this economy, gosh, it's a lot to ask people, because that's not true.
So the best way to get started in the company I'm with today, $1,500. But I wish it was $15,000 to quit.
Right.
You know,
right.
I think back. I started with $5,000. 20 years ago, and I think of the challenges. The naysayers, the people trying to constantly steal your dream. Here I am in this little rural community in Minnesota. It's been very easy for me to quit. Mm-hmm. And I think that if I would have invested $100, $200 20 years ago, I don't think I'd be here today. Mm. I couldn't afford to lose that $5,000, but I probably could have afforded to lose a couple hundred. I'd have, just said the first obstacle, I'd have abandoned it. I'd have went back to work.
Yeah, and your fiance looks at you and says, "What?" You're gonna go, "Okay, honey, we lost a few $100."
Yeah,
but you were invested.
Yeah, so I think that's one of the things that comes back to belief.
Yep.
It's so easy for people to quit. They'll spend 40 years working a job.
Yeah.
And what do they end up with at the end? They won't give network marketing 4 months.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing that when people enter network marketing, they think they're going to be a millionaire overnight.
Yeah. Why is that? They don't expect it when they when they start a lawn mowing business. They don't expect it if they buy a dry cleaning business. They don't expect it if they do anything. But when they come into network marketing, for some reason, they expect that if they don't make immediate money, then this thing doesn't work.
It's the craziest thing.
Do you think we're part of that? Do you think we, as a profession, are part of that by setting unrealistic expectations in presentations and making unreasonable claims?
Well, I think there are definitely people within the industry that do make unrealistic claims. I think, but I think for the most part, I know that when people ask me how much can I earn, and I say somewhere between 0 and a bunch.
Yeah.
I don't know your skill sets. I don't know what your commitment level is. I don't know what your credibility is. But I can tell you this, that you can do better here than anywhere else. I was thinking about this because we all have days that we're frustrated. But if you want to sit back and think about it, there is nothing I could ever imagine doing that would provide the type of complete success that network marketing. From time freedom to recognition to the financial aspect of it. Because if you compare yourself, actors and athletes, they sacrifice their freedom for stardom.
Sure.
You look at a small business owner, they have no time. They're the first ones in, the last ones to leave, and most likely the last ones to get paid. Mm-hmm. Stockbrokers, real estate agents, they live their whole life by demand of their clients. And a downturn in the market can cause complete havoc in their life. So when you look at network marketing, if they truly embrace it, and this comes back to that belief. You can tell. I flat out, to my inner being, believe there's not a better profession in the industry or in the world.
Now, I want to back up to something that you said, because when you're telling people they can make somewhere between 0 and a bunch, right? Because then you said, I don't know your skill sets, I don't know your credibility. How much skill set did you have when you joined network marketing?
Well, I didn't have a lot of skill set.
Okay. How much credibility did you have in and around network marketing?
I had 0. I was a blue collar worker.
Me too. When I started, I had 18 jobs in the 4 years prior to starting in network marketing. I had 0 skill set and 0 credibility. So when he mentions that, I just make the point, because when he mentions that, that's not a prerequisite for joining. He's just saying that with some skills and with some credibility, you can get a quicker start. That doesn't mean you're going to get a longer finish. A lot of times, the reason why you hear so many rags to riches story is we're so grateful. You know, people like us that didn't have big backgrounds and experience and options, choices, when we found our home inside of this profession, we were so grateful that we could develop a skill set that would get paid the amount of money that we could get paid. So we were willing to work through some of the initial pain to develop the skills. We were willing to become more attractive so we could increase our influence. Okay? A lot of people who have skills and influence, they come in and they're a little bit cool. They're a little bit, the too cool disease has set in, and they've forgotten how to work, and they've forgotten how to be grateful, and they've forgotten how to learn something new. They've developed their skills in one area of their life, but they forgot that when they join a new profession, there are some different skills you have to develop. So sometimes they've lost that learning muscle in their brain. Have you seen that with some people?
Absolutely. You know, when it's all said and done, there's usually a lot more said than done. When you get these people that are,
That's good.
you know, they're gonna knock the ball out of the park. I mean, they've got, and those are the ones that typically I end up finding fall by the wayside. You know,
I was talking with Dan McCormick last week, and he said, "Don't you hate it when somebody says, 'Oh, you're going to make a lot of money off of me'?" I was like, "Oh man,
that's the first red flag."
It's so true. It's so true. All right, so let's go back to your. I paused you in the middle because there's some good nuggets in your story, but let's go back to when you were talking about just getting started. Okay, so you come with you're working at the potato chip factory.
Correct.
As the supervisor in maintenance. Okay, fixing stuff.
Yeah, fixing.
And where was this at the time?
Perham, Minnesota.
Perham, Minnesota. Population?
2,000.
2,000. So anybody who's out there saying you can't do it in a small town, there's only a million examples of that being not true. But so you join, and you go home and you tell your soon-to-be wife that hey, we found a new business. She thinks you're crazy, and then what happens?
Well, you know, as you mentioned, I didn't have the skill set. I didn't have any credibility. Young guy, but what I did have is a commitment, and I had a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of excitement, and which comes back to that people buying people. I mean, I kind of make a joke about it, but when I would sit down with people, you know, they didn't know what I was doing, but they wanted to do it too.
Why did you have so much enthusiasm? Did you have that in your regular life? Was that just a natural thing about you?
No, it wasn't, and I mean, because it's not normal for most people to have enthusiasm about what they do.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing that made it so attractive, because you know, people get, you know, stuck in that rut of life in that job, and they completely lose their dream or their focus. And so, I mean, that's the thing that's so exciting about this business, is to see that sparkle in someone's eye, that hope, right, you know, for the future. And it really puts power in the present, where, I mean, people become unstoppable. And that was me.
Let me pause you for 1 second. The enthusiasm thing. There's a lot of people that are watching this program that consider themselves professionals or professionals in training, and you haven't had that enthusiasm for a long time. You have all the answers, and you're going through the motions, and you're very logical, and you're very methodical, and you haven't jumped up and down in 5 years. You haven't gotten excited about what you're doing in a long time. You're just kind of cool about it. You have the answers and all this stuff. You have the skills, but without the passion. What attracts people, like you said, they didn't even know what you were doing, but they wanted to do it because you got excited.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so pay attention to that. All right, so you jumped up and down and got excited with some people.
Well, this is the funny part of the story. When I first got involved, I mean, you know, these two suits from Minneapolis brought me in, and I don't think they'd ever thought they'd hear from me again. And so, back in that, you know, the puppy dog, right?
And that was Don LeBoy.
Don LeBoy and Mike Dunn.
And Mike Dunn, and they were your upline.
They were my upline.
It's so sad. These are guys that I worked with way back when, and they were cross-lined to me, which was just brutal to watch you, take off and me sit there.
So
but who knows? It all happens for a reason, right? But go ahead.
I got the 40 water filters,
Yeah.
and the town I lived in had really clean water, no chlorine, so there was no taste difference for the puppy dog. So it didn't work. So I went to a neighboring town 45 miles away, and
First of all, if some people said, well, my product doesn't work in my town, would that be enough for them to quit?
unfortunately for a lot of them it would, but that's the
cool.
mistake.
But he drove 45 minutes, found a place where people were excited. Most products today are universal, but go ahead.
So knocking on doors, placed 3 water filters.
You knocked on doors?
Knocked on doors. I mean, I had $5,000 worth of the product, I couldn't sell it. And I did this on my honeymoon. I mean, because,
Dude.
because people have spouses, someone else in their life that is telling you you can't do something. And one of the things that I, told my fiance at the time when I placed the order is I said, you know what, I believe, because first thing she said is, okay, if you want to do this, let's get our bills paid off. And I said, at the rate we're going, that's going to take 15 or 20 years. I need to do it today. I'm doing this to make money, not spend money.
Yeah.
And I said, I believe it's going to be far less damaging on our relationship for me to actually try and fail at this than for me to not try it all and live with the resentment. Because I can tell you, if I find somebody that made a fortune in this thing and I was there and I didn't do it, I don't think I could live that one down.
Okay.
So I needed to do this, but I wasn't doing it right. I mean, I was excited, placing his water filters.
Yeah, making mistakes. Like
Placed,
we all do.
after work, drove to Fergus Falls in the night. This was December, cold. 24 years old, knocking on these doors, placed 3 filters. Came back the next week to check on. I brought my brother with me. Sold one of the 3. Made $59. I mean, I thought that is the easiest money I've ever made in my entire life. We are going to be rich.
If everybody worked that hard in our profession today for $59, that would be a good thing. But
So my brother bought 40 water filters, after he saw me make $59. And so, for about 2 months, that's what we were doing. We were knocking on doors in this town that had terrible water, placing water filters. And there was a big event in Fargo, North Dakota. Mike Nelson, National Marketing Director.
good friend.
Go to Minneapolis, go to this event. I mean, I am charged up. My brother and I come up to Mike afterwards, say this was unbelievable. We are going to canvass Fargo and place a bunch of filters. And he says, what do you mean? I said, we're going to go knock on doors, get these filters out. And he says, I made $200,000 last year. If you told me I had to knock on doors to do it, I wouldn't be here today. He says, who's your upline? I said, Mike Dunn, Donald Boyne. He says, you're in my upline. Come up to my room. So he explained the concept of leverage, of getting others involved. Because at first I didn't want to get anybody
Small
involved.
business or big business?
Yeah, I didn't want to get anybody involved because I'm like, why would I want to create, I even hesitated to let my brother in because I didn't want to create my own competition. I wanted to sell them all. And but that was a pinnacle event because I got it. I understand
has turned the page.
that you could recruit and build leverage.
Yeah.
So
So he sat down and what did he explain to you?
he just explained, about drawing the circles, the leverage, and be able to have all of these other people, working for you.
Right. So if you're getting a small percentage of a large group versus
Absolutely.
100% of yourself.
Yep.
So this defining moment happens, and Mike Nelson is a good friend, still lives here in the Twin City area, and was one of my early mentors too. I mean, he came into town and taught me a lot about the profession. And but anyway, so he tells you this, and then what happens?
Completely changed. I became a national marketing director in 6 months.
But back up. When you walked out of the room, and then the next week, and the next 30 days, what did you?
I went from selling a filter to selling an opportunity.
Okay, and by selling the opportunity, you sold more product.
Absolutely, sold them instead of one at a time. I was selling them in blocks of 40,
And then they were doing the same.
and they were doing the same. And became a national marketing director.
That was the highest level in the company.
In 16 months. Became a sales coordinator in 6 months, national marketing director in 16 months, and forever it changed my life.
Yeah. So big lessons over the course of those 16 months. Any lessons that you learned that stand out?
Well, I think one of the lessons is because consumable products.
Right.
You
Having
know,
something that's consumable
That, you know,
that people use on a monthly basis is better than a one-time purchase.
you know, NSA, now known as Juice Plus, I mean, if they would have had Juice Plus prior to we'd probably both still be there.
Yeah.
Because we'd have built a residual income. I think, you know, timing is, you know, a key factor. But I think there's nothing that can replace belief in what you're doing, because if you truly believe in what you're doing, you're going to attract others, and to maintain that consistency and persistence. I have a philosophy of small steps, that there's no quantum leaps. You know, you really don't need to do anything great. You just need to be consistent on a day, because every single decision that we make in life has an impact or on our life, on the outcome. I mean, from picking the phone up to attending an event, you know, to us getting together here today. I mean, it'll have some impact on both of our lives in some way.
So you make a lot of money. Real life, no joke. How hard do you work?
You know, it's. I mean, I do work hard, but in network marketing, sometimes it's difficult to separate work from life, because everything
I get
you
it.
do.
I get it.
Right.
But I mean, how hard do you work compared to somebody that you know that's maybe making $80,000 a year, or $100,000 a year, or $50,000 a year, or $20,000 a year?
Well, I would, in the sense that I enjoy what I do,
Yeah.
in that respect, I probably don't work.
Take
near
out
as hard.
enjoyment. Take the enjoyment out. Assume that everybody enjoys everything. You know, and that's okay. And work can be enjoyment. The reason why I'm asking you this is the real network marketing professionals, right? They work their butts off, but they love what they do. You take the Nathan Ricks and the Todd Smiths and the Dan McCormicks and the Mark Yarnells and the Randy Gages and all these different people that I've talked to. They work hard. I mean, they put their heads down, and through that example and that passion and everything else, and I understand what you're saying as far as, hey, I like what I do, so it's not really work. Put it this way: how many hours do you put in? If you count stuff that you love, and
I'm sure that I'm still working 60 hours.
Probably
a week.
But you love it. I mean, how much of those 60 hours would you consider work? That's not the funnest thing in the world.
That's not the fun. Maybe 20.
Yeah. So 20 hours a week, a few hours a day, maybe you're missing a flight or
right.
Something happens. Okay. We're living in a time where I think the world economy is going through a major shift, and the workplace is changing. What Randy Gage likes to call safe is the new risky. It's not necessarily safe to go inside and be part of a corporation anymore. That's a risky place to be. Small business owners are going to have more pressure on them than ever before. People's retirements have been decimated over the course of the last few years. Their home values and the equity that they've spent 20 and 30 years built up has been wiped out. Bankruptcies are up. All these different things. What challenges and opportunities do you see for the network marketing profession in this time right now and moving forward over the course of the next couple of years? What's your vision for what's happening?
Well, I mean, I think, because we talk about timing is everything. Timing in your company, timing in the industry of wellness or whatever industry you might be in, timing in your own life. But this timing of our economy has created an environment where there's simply more credible prospects, high-level prospects available.
Yeah.
That are now open-minded. Their profession, as you described, has completely changed. It's washed up. I mean, they were making six figures, good incomes, and that opportunity doesn't exist for them. And they can win here. They can replace that income and go way beyond anything that if they open their mind up. Now, unfortunately, I do find many of them are just the deer in the headlights.
Yeah, they're paralyzed.
They don't know what to do. And although I believe as the recession has, and my personal belief is we're nowhere near to out of this. I mean, I think 2010 is going to be worse than 2009.
Yeah.
And people are going to have to come to grips with the fact that they have to do something different. They have to embrace a new opportunity, a new way to make income. I got a friend of mine in Fargo, corporate guy, and he just says, well, what you do that's just crazy money. It doesn't make, it's not real. And I says, it's real if you believe it's real.
Right.
Because he talks to me all the time about getting involved in, diversifying this business, that business, and he shows me, the effort, the investment, the bottom line, and I just shake my head. You got to be crazy. I mean, when you embrace and understand the true potential in this, none of these other businesses are worth your time or the headache.
Well, and what do you think we as a profession need to do? And if you hear a little bit of background noise, we're actually sitting in the lobby of the Holiday Inn, so I think they're setting something up over there. But what can we do to accelerate the acceptance of network marketing as a profession? For the people who say, well, isn't that one of those deals? Isn't that something like my father-in-law got involved with, or my wife did Mary Kay once, or They get this certain perception in their mind of what they think it is.
Right.
So when somebody says, "Is that one of those deals?" How do you respond to that?
One of the things that I teach and I practice is feel, felt, found.
Yeah.
Because whenever you get into a confrontational situation with somebody, their defenses come up.
Right.
And so, is that Amway? Is that a pyramid? That's one of those deals? My common response is, I know how you feel. I felt the same way. I mean, I thought network marketing was one of those businesses where you make no money and lose your friends. What I found out, so I agree with them. You can't argue with somebody that agrees with you.
Yeah.
So bring their defenses down, and then what I found out is that network marketing is probably the most efficient, fundamentally correct way to bring a product from manufacturer to end user. That it's nothing more than another form of distribution. Taking those advertising dollars and diverting them to us. I mean, that's all it is, another form of distribution. And I also recently have been just relating to the corruption, the inefficiencies, the disgust that we feel towards big business today.
Yeah.
Network marketing is the cleanest.
It's pure.
It's pure. It's pure.
Yeah, and I will tell you, so what he was saying, feel, felt, found. I know how you feel, felt the same way, here's what I found. On whatever it is, it's really good, it's, as one of those timeless principles that goes back, but works, right?
Yeah, it's solid. It doesn't matter what the question, the skepticism, the perception, it doesn't matter, it'll always move you a bit further to open their mind up.
One thing that I like, I've been doing for the past couple of years that I really enjoy doing, when people say, "Oh, is that one of those things?" I go, "Wait a minute, you have a story. Tell me your story. What happened?" Because if they have that, they have a story. Something happened, a relative, they got involved probably. If they're really disgusted, they've been involved themselves. So tell me what happened. What happened? What company were you involved with? What happened to you? How long did you work it? Did the company go out of business? What happened? Tell me. And then they let down and they tell you their story. And then through that conversation, then you have a little bit, you can have more empathy, you can make a connection. It's actually pretty interesting to do because I assure you, anybody who has a strong opinion about network marketing has a story. So just ask them what their story is. So, so I think that we are at a tipping point as network marketing professionals that we have an opportunity to rebrand network marketing in the world by, number one, us being a little bit more proud
Absolutely.
Of being network marketing professionals. People say, "What do you do?" I'm a baker and I'm a network marketing professional. I sell real estate and I'm a network marketing professional. I'm a full-time network marketing professional. I raise my kids and I'm a network marketing professional. You know what I mean? people hear that 5, 6, 7 times, they're going to go, something's happening here that I wasn't aware of. So I think the branding of it is number one. Number two, we need to set proper expectations. We need to not have the out of control claims. And, you know, when it comes to our products or our opportunity, we need to do it responsibly. And three, we need to share the skills, which is why I appreciate you doing this and sharing the skills, because tens of thousands of people will see this. So, do you think we're close, or do you think we're a subculture? You know, do you think we're close to mainstream?
You know, I believe that we're getting closer.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that what is going on in our economy, there are people that would have never looked at us before that are looking, and there's going to be a handful of those that lives will change. And so, you know, when we attract these quality people, it does raise the image of network marketing. Mm-hmm. But what you had said is being responsible, not exaggerating incomes, and because these things happen.
Yeah.
But, you know, when people talk about, is that one of those things, or, you know, I know somebody that got involved and didn't make any money. You know, one of the things that I like to do, because if you fail in network marketing, you never want to take responsibility. You want to take and blame, right? Where when you go to work in insurance, real estate, you know, some other type of business, and it doesn't work for you, just say it wasn't for you. But in network marketing, there's so many average people, right, and they never want to take responsibility. So but I will argue. I mean, if you were someone that had a bad experience, and I believe that if we talked about it honestly, regardless of how brief or what that experience was, you grew as a person.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the things that network marketing does. Beyond our products, beyond the income, it's what you become. It's a learning environment that changes people's lives, mm-hmm, way beyond the income.
See, I think a lot of people, because they come in with a lottery mentality, they're trying to get something for nothing. They're trying to shortcut something. It's all about timing. It's not about becoming a professional. And, you know what I mean? So
consistency.
They come in, and then they go as a predator to their friends and family, versus, you know, kind of a consultant or a connector. They're a predator. They're trying to get somebody. Oh, I got my brother-in-law. I got my, you know, my sister. I got my parents. Versus saying, no, I introduced them to something and they evaluated it. They decided if it was for them or not. A lot of the bad feeling, I think, that comes from this is people going out as predators. What would you say to those people? I mean, outside of the fact that it just doesn't work very well.
You know, they're trying to convince people, or I think the message that is that it is the lottery mentality, that they're going to get rich quick, and I really don't believe people buy that story anymore. Yeah. I mean, it naturally brings up the red flags of skepticism. This get rich quick. But when you approach people with, this is a real business, it takes real effort, and there's real rewards and real results. Right. And this is an industry that is here to stay. It's thriving, and I believe that, as you know, participating in this industry can change people's lives. But this get rich quick mentality, this gotcha,
yep.
It's easy in, easy out.
Right. So I'm a huge fan of defining moments. These moments where something happened and you hit a crossroad and you had to go right or left, and that decision changed your life. Mm-hmm. Some of those are people that you meet. Some of those are experiences that happen to you, positive sometimes, negative sometimes, but they're life-changing. And typically a person's life can be narrowed down to a dozen of those. You know, and that was the major forks in the road that made a huge difference. When I'm describing that, did any particular defining moment pop into your head?
Well, I mean, one I shared with you, the meeting with Mike Nelson.
Yeah.
Okay, when he shared with me the leverage aspect of this versus selling. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm selling opportunity versus a product. But I believe another defining moment for me was I went to a personal growth seminar with Zig Ziglar. Mm-hmm. And I'm working still in the factory, part-time, working the network marketing full-time, and Zig Ziglar coming to town. I saw it in the paper. My co-workers teasing me, have you seen the Zigzag guy yet? And so I went to this event, and the fleece training story, that people are flea trained, that life conditions them, that they can't do something, because you think of a baby, it has no boundaries, no limitations. It's we as parents, by saying no, we condition the baby. It's carried on in high school, it's carried on in college. Matter of fact, I'm convinced the more educated you become, the more conditioned you are, that you can't do something. And what network marketing did for me, what Zig Ziglar and the whole introduction to personal growth and development took me out of that jar of conditioning. So defining moment, personal growth, just totally embracing.
What's your number? Are you more of a reader or a listener when it comes to personal growth?
Well, having dyslexia, I still, am a terrible reader.
Have you noticed how many top-level network marketing people were dyslexic?
You find them.
Isn't that funny?
Not just in network marketing, but in very, very famous people.
They find a way in life. It's interesting. Maybe because they're more serious about certain areas of their life, or they focus on different things, and they don't take things for granted. Or I don't know what it is, but it's interesting.
Yeah. But for me, it's been audio.
Okay. So, what's your number one favorite audio program of all time?
Jim Rohn.
Which one?
Mastering the Art of Achievement.
Mastering the Art of Achievement. Jim Rohn. Okay, so Jim Rohn, ROHN.com. You can go there and get that information. That turned things around for you. For me, it was Challenge to Succeed. That audio program from Jim Rohn also blew my mind. I listened to it a couple hundred times.
Jim Rohn's, it's just that 145-minute audio on building your network marketing business.
Yep.
I mean, I would recommend that to everyone, to listen to it.
Yep.
It's pure gold.
Yep, good solid stuff. Well, like I said, there's going to be tens of thousands of people who watch this. If you could look them in the eye, they're sitting on their computers or they're sitting in their houses, and there are literally 50 countries around the world watch this program. What would you say to them? Look them in the eyes and tell them something.
I think, understanding the way I started this interview, talking about belief, anything that you can do to build your belief, listening to the audios, using the products, attending events, being on the conference calls. There's a saying that they say not everybody that attends these events are going to go on to make $10,000 a month, but I guarantee you the people that are going to go on to make $10,000 a month will be at the event. You need to be committed, and you need to invest in yourself. Get the audio series, get the Jim Rohns, listen to those product CDs, and you're going to win.
Well, John, I appreciate it very much, and I will tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I hope that the Network Marketing Professional, the Network Marketing Pro website is part of that learning process. 5 times a week, you can get good ideas from incredible people that have already done what you want to achieve, already achieved what you want in your business. I hope that you make this 5 minutes to 10 minutes a day a habit that is something you could repeat, not only for you, but for everybody in your organization. But my wish for you is that you decide to become a network marketing professional, that you decide to go pro. We would both tell you that it's a fact that we have a better way. Now, let's go tell the world. Everybody here from the luxurious Holiday Inn in Minneapolis, Minnesota, with my good friend John Haremza. Everybody have a great day, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you.